Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to educationists on this forum. Thank you, school reformers. It's really doing a great job by connecting all the school educationists and especially the educationists all over India on one platform. That is really, I think, the need of the hour, and it's been doing a great job. Thank you, and welcome everyone to this session. So I think let me start off. I have spent almost more than 2 decades in this education field itself. And during this journey, I have met various people from various different backgrounds in dealing different kinds of educators and students. So I think whatever experience we gain, it is always something fresh we come across when we keep moving forward. And coming to school challenges, school education challenges, I think that is the challenge itself is a very big challenge for all of us. It's not that we can define a few challenges. This is the challenge, or this can be overcome in this way. So each challenge is something different and needs to be tackled in a different way. So I just generalized it and I brought in a few challenges which I felt, okay, might be the need of the hour or might help all of us who are in this field in moving forward and giving the right education to the students and giving the right platform to the educators and teachers as well. So to begin with, let me start with the agenda. I hope I'm clear. All of you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So I have divided today's session into, so what is an overview of the school education? What is it right now from a bird's point of view? So what are the things needed to be focused upon? And what are the main challenges the school educators or the parents or the staff, all of us are facing in this education, in this present scenario right now? And then we go on to something which has turned everyone's lives to a different mode, the rise of online education. How this online education has become a part and parcel of the daily lives of the students and the parents as well, and especially for the teachers who we'll talk about that. And then how do we balance this traditional education with the real kind of scenario right now, the online education and the traditional education? How do we balance this out? And then by gelling both, mixing both, what are the strategies for holistic education? So I would just not take much time, but just delve into these few topics and see that I can be of some use to you, or we can exchange some good information, both of us, all of us together. So moving on, the overview of school education. Let me change my slide. My net is a bit slow today. Yeah. So it is really alarming, or the number. We have almost 1.5 billion students worldwide. And imagine if we have 1.5, or the number would keep increasing, the number of teachers needed, the number of good schools needed, and what kind of the day by day we see that it is not like the teachers like earlier were like a sage on the stage. There was a sage on the stage and the teacher used to impart good education to the students. But now we find that the teacher has to be just a guide at the side. So the students are already well aware of everything what's going on. They have information at their fingertips. And so then, like, what role should the teachers play? What should they do? How can they help these students? How can they guide these students? Is one of the challenge actually I wanted to talk about also today. Excuse me. And How do we mix these? We should not leave our roots actually. We need to have our roots. At the same time, we need to progress in our teaching. Excuse me for a minute. Yeah, extremely sorry for that. So how do we mix our various traditional methods and also progress along with our students? What relevance does our curriculum have with the changing trends and the changing methodologies? And also, what are the challenges in engaging students? I hope every one of us have seen that. How to engage the students in a classroom? How can I get the attention of everyone in the classroom? It is not that like students come in with good discipline, sit and listen to us and go, isn't it? So these challenges, though it may look small and silly, it is a nightmare of the teacher sometimes to enter into the classroom with a bunch of maybe very active students, I should call. But the more the teacher tries to enjoy and get herself into those, the minds of those kind of students, I think she will start enjoying her journey, taking it up as an opportunity instead of as a challenge. And then the last thing, how to balance global educational standards with the local cultural needs. We need to have our roots at the same time progress with the education. So this is how the main things what I gathered was, and to see how best we can make use of these going forward to give our students the best education which we can. Let me move on to the next slide actually. So what happens is this sets the stage for us in understanding the education and its challenges and how do we overcome them. Next, let's delve into the significant changes which we need in today's education. Educational inequity affecting millions of children. And as I told you earlier, when there are 1.5 billion students, how many teachers do we need? How many quality teachers do we need? And more than quality, I can say, how many passionate teachers do we have? Usually, when I talk to teachers, I ask them just one question. Have you become a teacher by chance or by choice? Isn't it? So when it is by chance or when it is by choice, definitely that divides the chance and the choice. Of course, there are many people who have come into this teaching field as chance but have made it their choice. That passion and that love for teaching, that love for kids, unless and otherwise the teacher doesn't carry within herself, I think it is a challenge to both the educational institution, the teacher, and the student also to go forward day in and day out. And another is the impact of socio-economic factors. Maybe we talk about very good education in Finland. So there we say children don't have exams till the age of 10, or they are not, given the burden of homework, or their education system is totally different. But when we come to India, again, there is a lot of difference, day and night difference between the education there and education here. That doesn't mean our education is not good. We have our own economic factors, we have our own traditional cultures, and there are different things defining our education here. So taking into account all those, taking into account these challenges, and how do we compare our education or our children, our type, our mode of teaching children, and match them up with something which the world feels is best outside? That is also one great challenge. And for that, I think the most important thing what we need to do is we need to adapt our curriculum to modern realities. We cannot follow the same old curriculum with the same old lessons in the same manner and same methodologies which we were teaching ages ago or maybe a long time back. So, how do we match our children with the world outside, our Indian children with the educational institutions or the children outside, in spite of having our traditional roots and culture here? So I think that is also another big challenge. And what is the key to these? How do we transform? What are the keys? What are the things we need to do for these transformation in education methodologies? So let's check once again. So I hope I'm clear till now. Anything, ma'am? Any questions? Or we'll go for the questions at the end itself?
At the end, ma'am. At the
Oh,
end. I've
okay.
started putting the questions on the
Yes.
website, and
Yes.
we will read out the questions
Sure,
together.
sure, ma'am. Sure. So going back to the earlier one also, as I said again, the teacher shortage. How can we overcome the shortage? Usually in schools, I used to hear principals are telling me that parents coming and complaining about the teachers, you have less teachers, or there is no proper teacher in my classroom. There was one principal who was like questioning. I heard them, I was sitting in their meetings, and I heard her questioning the parents itself in a big meet. All of you, almost 90% of you, come to me complaining about teachers, though I have the best of teachers in my school. How many of you are willing to make your child a teacher? You can raise your hands. So not even 1-2% of the people present in that particular meeting were willing to make their children become teachers. So the answer was with them. The principal answered the question. She made the parents itself answer. So when you are not willing to make your children as teachers, so there lies the problem where you don't understand the importance or what an exact teacher is. So that is where I think we all need to start thinking and try to get that kind of importance to our teachers as well. So going to my next, what is the next step where this teacher shortage crisis can be addressed, or what happened recently in our during the COVID time? All the teachers, like we were taking doctors as heroes, the scavengers or the security department, all others as heroes. But the real heroes, what we felt, were the teachers who were totally thrown into a different world. The teachers who were till then very much used with the chalk and talk method, go into the classroom, turn the pages of the books, write the notes on the board, and make the blackboard into totally white, explain. They were just shoved into or pushed into a totally different world where they had to become techies. They had to learn technology. I think this was another major challenge which the educationists around the world had to become. Not everyone were tech savvy. There were traditional teachers, there were teachers who were very good in the classrooms. And another important thing was every teacher had their children right in front of them. They could see the child, they could see his expression, or they could feel what the children were up to. But now this was a totally different world where the child and the teacher were in different worlds, were in different places. So another major challenge where the teachers or the educations or the total education scenario had to overcome or had to gel with it was the online education. Now, let me tell you one thing. Maybe most of us, the traditional schools or the parents, are against online education or against technology. But it is a bitter truth, or maybe a better truth, might not be called bitter. It may be for the better of everyone also. It this technology or the AI is there to stay. It is not something which we can do away with, or it is not something which we can put it aside and go back to our old methods. We need to make our lives gel with the technology, and we need to make technology a part of our lives. It is there to stay. It is not something which we can brush aside and get back to our normal mode of teaching or in any part of education areas or arenas. So, how do we challenge ourselves, or how do we brace ourselves for this kind of something technology coming into our methodologies of teaching? So, what is the importance of this digital literacy? Our students are already well versed with all these things. They are totally equipped with all. You give a phone to a child, a grade 1 or a grade 2 child, he knows much better how to use it than our teachers or ourselves maybe. So, how the most important challenge in this scenario is to educate our tutors, to educate our teachers, and see that they are on par with the latest technologies and they are very well equipped to face the children in the classrooms. We always think of how do we educate our children, how do we bring them up, how do we make them good enough to face the world, and what do we need to do. But the most important challenge in education, in school education, is how do they equip their teachers in all different ways and categories to face the children and to meet today's standards in both the technology wise and also in the traditional wise. It's not leaving, as I mentioned earlier, it is not leaving the traditional methods aside. How do we gel this online education, or how do we gel the online kind of the challenge or the opportunity, what we call, which has come across, which we cannot do away with? How do we gel it with our daily life or daily education or daily classroom scenarios? So, and another thing, most important thing I would like to tell all the educationists around the world is teaching academics is one side. Let us, academics or the curriculum is one side. The curriculum is the most important, the backbone, the ladder, or the whatever it is. But connectivity with the students is more important. The more you connect with the students, teaching of the curriculum becomes more easy. The connection, how you made a child feel, is more important than what you actually taught him. Or that becomes a challenge in online education. How do we overcome that, or what can be done to connect with the child online? When online education is becoming a part and parcel of the real-time education, we also have to educate the parents too, and not only the teachers, to be well equipped. So the parents might not be able to understand what the child is doing with the phone. So there are a few things where we need to draw lines, where we need to draw boundaries, and the parents also need to be well equipped on how to handle their children. I think this is the greatest challenge of all the educators, the school institutions right now in meeting the needs of every parent. How do we deal with their child? And also another challenge what we face in the schools is we teach them academics. Academics, marks will always be there. The books, the living, non-living things, or the fractions and everything will be there. I think more of teaching has to be done on life skills also. So what do we do? How do we teach our children? How do we brace our children to face the world outside? How do we overcome these online challenges and make our children and parents and teachers well equipped? How do we see that online education also is used for the good of the students and not just to teach the lessons like only mere academics. It is a beautiful platform, I feel, where every school can adopt to, maybe not on a high level or not like giving online classes every day, but maybe this kind of education can be made to gel with maybe 1 or 2 days in a day, or maybe we can call someone from outside to come over and see how we can blend this online teaching and the regular teaching. And how do we cater to these students? I can tell you there are visual learners, there are kinesthetic learners, there are auditory learners, and there are children who just can write down what they learn and then learn. I think by using all these methodologies, by using all these, we can make our children face the challenges outside, and also the school can be ready to cater to all the needs of different kinds of children by using such methods. We have, this is a challenge, I understand, of getting online or technical education into the school, but I feel we need to brace ourselves. We need to make such equipments or make such arrangements in the school and see that we have online education to make it a part of our daily teaching. Holistic educational approach. So as I told you earlier, developing curriculums that are both academically rigorous and skill-based. Academic lessons we can, of course, teach, but how do we make the child apply what he has learned to his everyday life? Or how does he know to apply what he has learned in his classroom to the challenges he faces outside? So most of the lessons can be taught in different ways, in more practical oriented ways. Maybe we can give projects to children where they can go home and do it on their own and learn by themselves what happens if so and so is to be happens in their real life scenario. So during this kind, we have come up, so much of development has happened in the world, and our children are exposed to so many different kinds of various what do I say, various kinds of challenges or various kinds of scenarios or various kinds of situations, and each time we need to rise up to the occasion and how to solve that problem or how to face that situation. So this is another major challenge in front of all the school educators today. So there would be, recently I was reading some WhatsApp forward sent by one of my friend, like the backbencher is an entrepreneur today. And the child who scored literally 100% or grade 1, I mean, from grade 1 to grade 10, who was on top of the class, is not an IAS or some other top software skilled, but she is some software, she is some fashion designer kind of thing. So we just cannot, I mean, predict what each child is inside, what his or her interests are. So it would be the collaborative efforts of all the parents, educators, the school, to see what is best for the child. And another important thing, I forgot her name actually, a very good dancer, not from India. So the mother had a lot of problem in making the child sit in the school, sit in the classroom, even for 5 minutes and learn or just concentrate on what the teacher is saying. So after trying out all the different kinds of different counselings and everything, one day mother got so depressed that she took her to a friend of hers. So while the mother was talking to that friend, he observed that there was some music on, and the child was like so engrossed in the music, and her fingers were tapping, legs were tapping. So it was then that he realized, instead of sending her to a normal school, why don't we send her to a dance school? And I'm sorry, I really forgot the name. Maybe if you can do some research, you can get it. She was and has gone to become the most celebrated dancer of her times, actually. So, and these are the kind of challenges which are day in and day out new, and we cannot define like a certain challenge. This is what a school is going to face or a school is facing. So we need to equip ourselves to find out, to get to know every student and how and what way we deal with them and how do we make them equipped, or how do we send them out with the crown so that they are ready to face the real life challenges outside. So, and this can be done only with the collaborative efforts of the school, the teachers, and the parents as well. We have come a long way. I have seen many schools having counselors and having teachers who are really passionate towards teaching and the love of their children. And even in online classes, I've seen how teachers get connected to the students. They easily find out just by looking at the child's face or expression that something is wrong, and they get to talk to the parents and try to overcome or help the child overcome what at present they are facing. I think rather than being a sage on the stage, being a guide at the side and hand holding the children and guiding them and taking them across is what we need to do right now. And I think that is the biggest challenge we need to face right now. Gelling online technical education and also the traditional education, and how do we when we change the mode of teaching, the curriculum or the methodology also has to change. So how well do we equip our children with academics, but the academics gelled with the projects or the day-to-day life skills, and how do we do it is also something which we need to overcome. And I think we will all have to sit and do a lot of homework, lot of brainstorming sessions to happen, and see that we can make our children the most social beings, where they can go out and face the world and also face the other children from all over the globe equally and come out with their best.
Thank you, ma'am. Because of the time constraint, yes, we can take the questions. We have around 10 questions here. Most of the questions are already covered by you. You can stop sharing your screen, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am.
Can you just hold on a second?
Yeah. Let me one.
Yes, ma'am. You can stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. I'm not able to actually.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you have discussed the challenges about the education and the pros and cons of online education, the challenges educators face, parents face, and the advantages and disadvantages, everything. But I would like to read out all the questions to you, since the audience may, want to know more about it. So the first question is, ma'am, considering the shift to online education, what are some key challenges educators face in effectively engaging students and maintaining a high level of learning outcomes?
Definitely. So here, the teacher needs to make the class more interactive. It can never be a one-way kind of teaching. If it is a regular classroom, maybe the teacher can go to the lecture method or use the board, and because all the children are in front of her eyes, and even a child more, she will be able to get to know. But when it comes to online education, if it is made more interactive, the child will be alert, and also the way the teacher explains and how she gets connected to her students is more important. She has to do that magic. Maybe she's just explaining a photosynthesis or just a fraction, but the way the teacher puts forth to the child, you make everything seem like magic. So maybe you're just adding 2 plus 2, or you're just showing that the color of the leaf is green. But the way you express it, you put forth in front of the child that as if some magic is happening when the leaf is green or the flowers are blooming, definitely you will have the attention of the children. So
Right.
it all depends on how you put forth, or how energetic or how magic you make your lessons go across.
Thank you. So how do socioeconomic factors impact access to online education? And what
Yes.
measures can be taken to address potential disparities in learning opportunity?
Exactly, ma'am. Exactly. So when we say online teaching, I think we have come a long way in that. We had, of course, the connectivity issue, the net issue, and the available of the equipment issue. But now I think even remote villages, they are having a smartphone, and children are well versed with using the smartphones. And also there are a few schools which are streaming their classes by recording them, so that they need not depend on live relays or only on Wi-Fi. So I think these kind of things where the Wi-Fi is a problem or network is a problem, people are recording the classes and sending them so that the children can watch whenever there is, or communities are coming together to provide certain help to the people, to the children where education is not much accessible. I think all of us together need to also come together and think of certain solutions for such socio-economically backward children, and provide them the beauty or the opportunity of this online education.
So how can educators strike a balance between utilizing technology for educational purposes and ensuring the students develop essential interpersonal skills and social intelligence?
Yes, exactly. So we can conduct certain activities where the children can, showcase their skills online. Maybe certain projects the child can use the internet, or maybe we can give them to create some small video, because there are so many tools right now where the children can do it instead of the child going home and with the parents, and maybe sometimes not available. The school itself can have a small lab with certain tools equipped, and the children can be given exposure of creating such projects, or creating something very tiny, teeny weeny things where the children can gain exposure for such things. At the same time, working as a team. Maybe a project needs 5 to 6 members. They can be teamed up, and each team member is equipped or given some kind of task to work in that team. And how do they cope up working together as a team? And how do they manage when one team member is not up to the mark? So these kind of things. When we give a project to a child, it is not only the project output we should look at, but also how that they are gelling together as a team, how they are bringing up a child who is a bit low, or how the main leader or the very clever person or very good spirited person in the team is helping out the others. I think all these also can be assessed, where we can get to know, or we can bridge this gap in this holistic education kind of thing.
Thank you, ma'am. Well explained. So are there specific policy changes or initiatives you believe are crucial to support the successful integration of online education into mainstream schooling systems?
Yes, ma'am. As of now, like we, the government and all of us also have to pay more emphasis on it. There are no actually set rules that there has to be certain so and so kind of online education in the schools, or if they follow this, there has to be certain guidelines, because there are many things happening too. I think we need to streamline these things and come up with more amicable rules or rigid rules, which I can say, which can help both the child and the schools as well.
Thank you. So, how can schools and educators adapt their teaching methods to cater to diverse learning styles, particularly in the online environment? I think you have covered
Yes,
already.
exactly. Yes. So visual learners and kinesthetic learners and auditory learners, right? So
Yes.
all these can be covered in online education only. So we can give them a questionnaire where the child answers on the spot. So this takes his attention, or a video or some visual concept video, some visuals where the visual learners learn better. So I think online education caters to all these needs of different kinds of students.
Okay. So, in your opinion, ma'am, what role does teacher professional development play in enhancing the effectiveness of education, and how can schools support educators in this aspect?
Exactly, ma'am. So, as I said earlier, knowledge wise or academically, every teacher is almost well equipped. I think teachers also need to be given training, or need to be given sessions on how can they cope up with different kinds of challenging students and parents and scenarios outside. So all of us need that kind of support. We always think of, as I said earlier, the how to get the child in a good way, or how to make him behave well, or how to equip him with every thing is needed to face the situation outside. But we also need to handhold our teachers, train them up technically, give them sessions, give them motivating sessions, and give them some classes and sessions so that they are ready to face the challenge in each and every class. Listen to the teachers' experiences, talk out to one another, have everyday meetings, not every day maybe because time will not permit in schools. So maybe once a month, all of them can get together, discuss their issues in the classrooms, and then what are the latest technologies outside which the teacher needs to be equipped with. There can be a journal. So these things will help the teachers equip themselves more and more ready to face the school in the classrooms.
Thanks, ma'am. That ends the question answer round. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions, though those were repetitive little bit, and
Yes, yes.
you've already covered all the information in your slides. We also thank you, the audience, for participating in the event. Hope you have enjoyed the knowledgeable session. We will end the session now, ma'am. Ms. Padmalatha, you want to mention anything else?
No, ma'am, I just want to thank you for this, and I hope we continue our journey further. Thank you. And I wish all the educators all the very best to give their best.
Have a great day, ma'am. Thank you. I'll end the session now.